Hey, welcome back to Album April. It's April 11th, and today I listened to Tapestry by Carole King. I looked at a bunch of those music magazine, music websites, best albums of all time lists, and this one kept coming up, so I decided to check it out for this month. I'd obviously heard of Carole King before, I recognized that name, but I didn't really know much about her. I looked her up, and apparently she is a very prolific songwriter. Her and her husband at the time, Jerry Goffin, wrote a lot of hit songs in the 60s. I didn't recognize most of them, but I did recognize one of them, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman by Aretha Franklin, which I think is one of the classics. According to Wikipedia, she had a hand in creating over 100 Billboard Hot 100 pop hits. In the 70s, Carole King went solo and decided to make some of her own music, and this, Tapestry, was her second album, and it absolutely blew up. It won multiple Grammys, including Album of the Year, Record of the Year, and Song of the Year. And again, according to Wikipedia, it remained on the Billboard charts, the album itself, for 313 weeks, which is the second longest any album has stayed on the charts behind The Dark Side of the Moon, which has over 700 weeks. It's kind of crazy that Tapestry really is one of the most successful and influential albums of all time. So I listened to it, and I thought it was okay. My first impression of Tapestry was that it sort of falls into the same sort of Anne Murray, Joni Mitchell niche of easy listening female pop music. That's not to disparage it, that's just sort of to describe it. The music's all very pretty, Carole King has a good voice, it was thoroughly inoffensive. But I kind of prefer albums more like Body Talk by Robin from yesterday that took more risks, because that one had lower lows but also higher highs. From what I can tell, Carole King seems to really be a trailblazer for women in pop music, and I think that's great. And the music is not bad, I just don't love it. One song I did love from this album is Natural Woman, which is her version of the song that she wrote for Aretha Franklin. It's not as good as the Aretha Franklin version, but it's still the same song. It's still really heartfelt. It still sounds great. There were two songs in the album where I feel like dislike is a bit strong of a word, but I definitely didn't care for them. It was Smackwater Jack and Tapestry. They're those, Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell storytelling songs that, I don't understand why they exist. Who are they for? It's not to the level of Lily Rosemary and the Jack of Hearts by Bob Dylan, which really might be one of the worst songs I've ever heard. It's just, I don't get it. I think it's pointless. So then we get the question of, do I think this album holds up? I think that technically the answer is yes, but I don't love this album. I think it's good. I think it's good enough. I think I appreciate what this album represents and what it did more than the music itself. But none of the music I thought was bad, and some of the songs I thought were pretty good. It mostly just falls into the trap of not really being my genre of choice. So you can take that for what it's worth. I'll see you tomorrow.